Luke, and I am the sports scientist for the under-18s at Aston Football Club. We actually have a nutritionist at the club who meets with the players every Thursday, and he gives them advice and information on what they should eat. Typically, on a daily basis, the boys will supply their own breakfast. So the things we recommend is we try and get them a high carbohydrate, high protein source. So it would be things like scrambled eggs, it would be any leftover meats from the nights before, cereals, breads, bagels and things to up carbohydrate levels is what we recommend for the boys. If we can get any fruits or yogurts or dairy products into their diets of a morning, that's something else we try and recommend.
What about fat?
Yeah, fats. When they're cooking in the mornings, it's olive oils and things that we try and get them to cook in. We recommend if they have got access to avocados and coconut oil, try and get the omega-3 fats and things as well. A lot of the lads actually like fish, so they eat a lot of mackerel and sardines and things in the morning. The lunch is put on for the lads as well, so what the chefs will put on is pasta dishes and rice dishes in terms of the carbohydrates to try and to basically resupply that, regenerate that sort of fuel they've lost in training every morning. Again, in terms of the oils, the coconut oil and the olive oil, it's cooked in that sort of
coconut
thing
oil is...
Yeah. Coconut oil is a big thing for me because it's a really good source of good fat. We try and get, we don't want no trans fats, no hydrogenated fats.
Yeah.
We try to avoid,
That's a bit skeptical about that coconut oil in Finland,
absolutely,
especially.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I've done a lot. Like I said, the nutritionist that we have got recommends coconut oil to cook in, rapeseed oil and things like that, So yeah, in terms of, like I say, the evidence is very equivocal in terms of, a lot of people would say coconut oil is good, some would say it's bad. Olive oil, I think, is a general consensus in what to cook in as well. Things like avocados, we try and get that to snack on that in their salads. Hydration is massive as well. We try and get the boys to obviously sip on water throughout the day, cordial with no added sugar. They have access to milk and milkshakes after training as well to try and just give them that extra sort of carbohydrate intake. Protein shakes are available for the lads as well, more so at under 21 level than under 18.
This kind of additional protein drinks, do you recommend youngsters or this kind of a players, so 18s, year 16s?
Yeah, no, so our nutritionist initially says that he would like them to try and supplement on natural protein sources, like you say, your meats and things like that if we can. We'd rather the boys had things like milk, even as a more natural source of protein.
Low fat or high fat milk?
Whole milk.
Whole milk.
Yeah, full fat milk. The fat. People have got this kind of generalisation thought that fat is bad for you, and it's not. Fat is good for you, and the fat that's found in natural products like milk, the fat that you find in your milk is very good fat.
Yeah.
It's if you go very deep, which you probably are in your PhD.
Yeah.
When we start going into grain-fed meats and things like that, that's when we start to say, well, the fat might not be great because we want our animals to be pasture-fed and fed on kind of green grass and things like that.
Yeah.
So, but for me, it would be whole milk because talking about milk as an individual.
It's a goat milk or cow milk?
Yeah, for me, it's cow or goat. It doesn't matter at the moment for these lads. It's getting that protein, that natural fat source.
Yeah.
If you was going on sort of your really finer health benefits, then you'd probably say goat over cow maybe. But like I say, evidence is really equivocal out there. The lads, we don't supply dinner for them because obviously they're finished by that time, but we send them away with what we've had a lot of trouble with is these lads eat a lot of fast food at this age because it's still an education process for them.
Yeah.
So what our nutritionist does is gives them kind of a document which is make bad choices better. So if they're eating things like fast food, McDonald's, Subways and things like that, pizzas from your local pizza places, it may be don't have a full crust, maybe have a thinner base crust pizza, lower calories again.
Yeah.
In terms of going to places like McDonald's, it might be a hamburger rather than the cheeseburger and things, the chicken fillets that you can get. We're trying to get them to, they're not great choices, but these lads, it's difficult to get them on side in terms of saying, slow cook your meats, eat your fruits, eat your vegetables. It's very, very difficult. So if we can get them to begin with, if their diet is very, very poor, if we can get them just to make gradually better choices, hopefully over time when they grow up, when they become more mature, when they understand nutrition.
Do you have some kind of a guidebook or this kind of a guidelines for them and parents?
So we have a document and a handbook that the nutritionist has put together. Yeah. Basically in there it will say what's good for pre-match, what's good for post-match, what's good for post-training, breakfast ideas really. So it's very, very basic guidelines, but what they can then do is if we say good foods for you are, your fats are olive oils, it's your avocados, your carbohydrates are breads, your bagels, your cereals. Your proteins are your natural meats and your natural fishes and things like that, omega-3s. Then what the parents can do then is go away and make meals based on them baseline staple products of food, you see. And then, like we say, we put the bad choice better document in there for the fast food if they go out. We put the hydration in there, and we say, try and keep away from your sugary drinks, your fizzy drinks. Try and go on your waters, your whole milks. Juices are okay if you can get them not from concentrate.
So the hydration during what do you recommend? Is it water and sport drinks or?
Yeah, so we typically say to the boys, as a lifestyle choice, not as an athlete choice, water's massive. We do hydration tests every week, osmo tests. And we try to say to them, if you failed, you've got to try, you can't, because what a lot of our lads do is they come in every morning, they try and neck water really quickly. And we say, that's not the idea, it's a lifestyle thing, try and sip on your water, but if you're playing games and you're training, Lucozade sports drinks or whatever the equivalent may be are available. So we recommend they get them down. But typically the Villa are very good at getting the boys in from training and up to lunch very, very quickly. So we can refuel that very, very quick. But sports drinks are fine. Just to try and get that carbohydrate level back up again. Because one thing we say to the boys is the boys are very big on, we need protein shakes. But all we're saying to them is if we don't replace the carbohydrate fuel in enough time, then it starts to eat into your protein store, your muscle store, as you're probably well aware. So for us, it's get your carbohydrate levels up, and then as a lifestyle, get your good fats inside you, get your good proteins inside you, keep yourself well hydrated. Some of the lads we have that are on the verge of the first team, so under 18s and under 21s. We don't do an awful lot of supplementation, but there are a lot of lads that aren't very big, and we try and take them out of training for a couple of days, put them into gym 2 extra days, and then we recommend giving them things like creatine, protein shakes, and then on top of that we might say a multivitamin or a fish oil just to try and aid.
So omega-3s,
omega-3 fish oil,
vitamin D,
krill oil as well. Sometimes a calcium, magnesium, potassium product that will come in a multivitamin. So if we can just get 1 or 2 of those lads, to have them products just to aid in their kind of the growth, really try and put some muscular hypertrophy on them. Like I say, it's only for 1 or 2 cases, because a lot of the lads, it's all about the natural diet. If we can get that right, then I think that'd be absolutely fine. So.
But what about smoking and drinking alcohol?
There's an absolutely.
How do you control that?
So it's very difficult to control at the end of the day, but if they're caught, there's fines in place. I couldn't actually tell you what happens higher up, but whether the club, I'm assuming, have got some kind of protocol in place for if that sort of thing is caught, because social media now, the lads are under the spotlight, your Twitters and your Facebooks. We've never caught any of our lads at under 18s level smoking or drinking, but that's not to say they don't do it. But again, at the end of the day, they're growing up and they're learning, and we all make mistakes.
The social aspect of.
Exactly. So if these lads, if it happens, I'm sure that we will get them in. We'll speak to them. We'll advise them initially on why it's bad.
So do you test those?
We don't test. We don't do any kind of drug doping testing. It's all done by the FA. The FA will come in on a random basis and do the testing. And obviously, if that's caught, the FA will take their own disciplinary kind of actions. Then we'll take our own disciplinary actions as well. So it's a very, very stringent thing. But we've got some very good lads in the under 18s that are fully aware of what drink does to you, what smoking does to you, what drugs do to you. And fingers crossed. We hope that they're on board and they stay on the straight and narrow, really. So,
could you tell about this kind of a general or the average daily diet? So beginning from the morning breakfast. So of a morning, we've given nutrition plans out, and what we recommend is when the lads wake up, if they can have a glass of water, a glass of non-added sugar cordial. Doesn't even matter if it's a tea or a coffee, to be honest, because for us it's about getting just some initial hydration inside them. Obviously water, your non-added sugar cordials will be better, but if they prefer a tea or a glass of milk or a fruit juice, that's absolutely fine in our eyes. Then breakfast, we recommend if they can get a protein source in, whether it be any leftover sort of meats or fish from the night before, whether it be your egg products, scrambled eggs or poached eggs rather than fried eggs, really. The lads know the difference between that. And then a carbohydrate
additions, so it might be a couple of slices of toast, it may be a bagel or something that would have. They'd have their breakfast at home, then they would come in, they would do some injury prevention with us, and then they would have a snack period at about 9:45 a.m. So typically we've got dairy products, things like milk, things like milkshakes, yogurts are available. They can have themselves a bowl of cereal, just to again just try and up that carbohydrate level before they go out to training at 10:30. Then they'll go out to training, and we supply them with water with electrolytes in, so just to maintain that magnesium, that potassium level. Make sure they don't get dehydrated, efficiently hold on to the hydration. They'll finish training at about midday, they'll come and get a shower, and within the space of about 30 minutes they'll be up to lunch. Lunch, like I say, we'll have a pasta dish or a rice dish put on. There may be a lasagna or something like that, a bolognese sort of sauce. Again, the chef cooks in different ways, but things we recommend is, like say, cooking in olive oil. It's having a salad dish available with vegetables. So we try and always have one green vegetable, whether it be like a kale or a broccoli, something like that. Carrots, sweet corn are available. Sweet potato mash.
What about the whole grain or?
Yeah, we definitely recommend whole grain, but white's available because a lot of the lads just don't like whole grain. Like I say, we say whole grain over white, but if they prefer white, they'll eat white. We can't stop that really. So like I say, there's a protein, there's a carbohydrate, there's the vegetables for your vitamins and minerals. It's cooked in olive oil.
And healthy fats.
Healthy fats, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's their lunch. In the afternoon, they'll have either education or gym. If it's typically gym or a PM training session, once they've finished that, there'll be a milkshake available, mainly because of budget, really. We can't really afford to give out protein shakes all the time, so milk or milkshakes are not a bad source of getting a bit of protein and a bit of sugar to replenish the energy levels. So after gym or something, they'll have one of those milkshakes. There'll also be sandwiches available, so whole grain bread, there may be tuna or chicken on these sandwiches, so just kind of like a PM top-up snack sort of thing. Once they've finished that, then they will go home for dinner, they'll have their document with them, and they will try to put together a meal, like I say. So it's a protein source, your meats and your fish. It'll be a complex carbohydrate source, whether it be mashed potatoes, sweet potato mash, it may be a bit of pasta or something like that. And then we try and also say to them 2 sort of palm handfuls of vitamins and minerals. So it's veg, it's 1 green veg for definite, and if they can get like a cauliflower or a carrot or a sweet corn or something like that, that's the ideal meal for us. But I know for a fact that a lot of the lads, they like takeaways, like I said before. So if they go and have a pizza, if they go and have an Indian or a Chinese or something like that, we try and recommend better meals that are lower in calories and not as bad for them. They're not ideal, but if we can get them to get 70-75% of their diet right throughout the day, that's absolutely fantastic. And then other night before we go to bed, we'll make sure that they're well hydrated, whether it's a glass of water, a glass of juice again, and they may finish with, sometimes a lot of lads boil eggs and things like that, so they've got just a little bit of protein, slow releasing protein. Eggs got a lot of casein in them. So they will have them just to finish off before they go to bed. So that's typically their daily nutrition.
So do you measure different sources? So the carbohydrates and the protein and the fat, or do you just guide with this kind of a recommendation?
Yeah, we try to guide. I mean, we've only just recently actually had a specified nutritionist come in. So we've given these recommended guidelines out, and then hopefully over time, if they start to make better choices, they can come in on a more one-to-one basis for consultations, and we can start to say that these are the carbohydrates we recommend, these would be the proteins we recommend. We don't currently do it at the moment because, as you know, I mean, working in a football club, the amount of staff we have, you could have a nutrition specialist, you could have a strength and conditioning specialist, you could have a sports science specialist, GPS specialist. So hopefully over time, when we've got the foundations in place, we've got the recommendations and the guidelines for nutrition and hydration, we can start to get them in more often, more on a regular basis, more one-to-one, and start to say these are your better choices. So,
how do you see the role of the diet and nutrition about the success?
How do I see the importance?
Development, yes, development and success. How?
Yeah, it's absolutely massive. I mean, one of the things Villa pride themselves on is bringing in these technical players, and you'll probably see a lot of British clubs that are quite physically big, and we don't tend to bring those players in. So for us, it's massive getting the diet right, the training right, to try and develop these physically as best as possible. We actually only had a presentation yesterday with a nutritionist, and we said to the lads, your diet, if you don't get it right, if you have your sugary snacks, your crisps, your chocolate and things like that, it can affect performance. And we showed them a study, and we showed them over a 90-minute period, you can actually perform to 60-70% of your capacity, whereas if you fuel right, if you hydrate right, you will actually go 85-90 minutes into extra time, which a lot of games do nowadays. So the lads are fully aware that diet and hydration is huge. If you can get that, if you got a diet and it's poor, and you
so
can
80% right.
Yeah, if you can change it, like you say, 80%, it's going to massively benefit you.
Yeah.
If you can get it spot on, listen, you're going an awful long way to make yourself a fabulous athlete, really. So the lads are fully aware of it. Whether they do it is a different story, but they've definitely got the facts there, the guides there to go and eat right, to go and drink right. If they choose to do it, fantastic. If they don't, end of the day, it's their responsibility. So.
How do you see organic food?
I'm a massive fan personally of organic food. I myself personally eat organic, grass-fed meats, line-caught fish. I know that because of the world we live in now, it's very difficult because of the population, the way food is produced, a lot of grain-fed stuff, a lot of caged chickens and things like that, which I think is a poor and not a very sustainable sort of method of eating, really. So, me personally, when we talk to the lads, it's about getting refueled carbohydrates, whichever method that would be. But in an ideal world, really, we'd recommend organic food if they've got the finances, if they've got the ability to go and get organic food. Then I would definitely choose organic over non-organic. Likewise, I'd say free range is better than non-free range. So the lads know that free range or organic food is definitely a better choice of food. Yeah. It's just whether they can afford that food. Yeah. The club puts certain bits of food on that's organic. Other food choices may not be organic. It may just be free range. Like it's a budget thing, really. If the clubs have got the money to do it, I'm sure they would do it. We do it as much as we can. At times we can't do it. So yeah, I would definitely agree with recommending organic food, but whether you can get hold of it is a different story. So.
What is your opinion about this trendy products? For example, coconut water as a sport drink, and superfood.
Okay, I've never actually come across an awful lot of that stuff, to be honest. I suppose it's all about research. If these products are brought out, if they've been brought in and used on under 18s athletes, under 21s athletes, even first team athletes, and it works, and it's got health benefits, or it hasn't got health benefits. I'm a very sort of innovative sports scientist, and if the research is there and it says it works, I would probably use it. Likewise, if the research was there and it said it didn't work and it didn't have health benefits, I may not use it. So really, I think it just needs to have some evidence to support, why it's there, what it does. So I think it's personal preference, really. If I might look at something and see a journal paper that says, yeah, it works, it's great. You may see one that say it doesn't work and it's not great, and you may not use it. So really, I think it just needs to be supported by evidence and research, really.
And in a nutshell, on the final summary, so what is your recommendation for a young player?
Okay. In terms of diet and nutrition, then I would definitely try and choose natural products. So just you're getting your food right, rather than trying to supplement and use a lot of gimmicky products and foods. If we can get the boys to get regular meals, regular fluid inside them, that's fantastic. If we can get them to refuel properly, so through, like I say, very good carbohydrate sources, your whole complex, your breads, your pastas and things like that, I think that's excellent. If lads need more calories, then like you were mentioning before, trying to get your good fats inside you will up that calorie level. For those lads that are struggling physically to develop, then I would start to use supplementation. But like I say, for only 1 or 2 cases. For me at the moment, a lot of our lads say to us, can I supplement? Can I have protein shakes? For me, it's about getting food choices right. A lot of the lads don't eat breakfast. A lot of the lads, don't get their dinners right. If we can just get regular breakfast, regular lunch, regular dinner, regular snacks in between, and then we can build on to choosing the right products, whether that be free range or organic, like you said, I think we're definitely on the right path, and then we'll try and develop from there.
Thank you for the interview. It was great.